My friends, good evening. The New England Patriots may have just found an unexpected solution to one of their newest roster concerns, and the possibility of a reunion is suddenly becoming much more realistic than many fans expected. After an unfortunate injury created a hole at the tight end position, the organization now faces an important decision before training camp begins, and one familiar face has already made it clear that he would welcome a return to Foxborough. The situation changed dramatically after Julian Hill suffered an injury that will keep him away from the field. Hill was expected to play an important role as the team's third tight end, especially because of his physical presence as a blocker. His absence leaves the Patriots with Hunter Henry and Eli Ruckert leading the position, while Jack Westover and C.J. Dipper move further up the depth chart. Suddenly, what looked like a stable position now requires additional attention before the season gets underway. Head coach Mike Vrabel did not hide the fact that the Patriots are evaluating the position. He openly acknowledged that the team will likely have to address the numbers at tight end before training camp, making it one of the roster spots that deserves close monitoring over the coming weeks. That statement alone immediately fueled speculation about potential free agent targets, but one name quickly separated itself from the rest. Pharaoh Brown appears to be a natural fit for exactly what New England needs right now. While some fans may immediately think about receiving production when evaluating tight ends, that is not necessarily the priority in this situation. Hunter Henry and Eli Ruckert already provide receiving options, while the biggest void left by Julian Hill is in the blocking department. Looking at Pharaoh Brown's recent production as a pass catcher, the numbers do not jump off the page. His recent seasons have included limited receptions and modest offensive statistics, making it clear that his value comes from another area of the game. However, when evaluating his blocking ability, the conversation becomes completely different. Brown has consistently demonstrated that blocking is one of his greatest strengths. During his previous stint with New England, he spent a significant percentage of his snaps contributing as a blocker, exactly the type of role the Patriots are now trying to replace. His run blocking grades reflect the physical style that perfectly aligns with what Mike Vrabel wants from his football team. Rather than searching for another pass catching specialist, New England may simply need someone willing to handle the dirty work, create running lanes, protect the quarterback, and allow the offense to remain balanced. From that perspective, Pharaoh Brown becomes an extremely logical candidate. Another factor making this possibility even more interesting is that Brown himself appears completely open to returning. After discussions emerged comparing him favorably to other available veterans, he publicly responded in a lighthearted manner, indicating that he would welcome such a move. That response immediately caught the attention of Patriots fans who remember his previous contributions with the organization. Financially, the move would also make plenty of sense. With significant salary cap flexibility available, signing a veteran tight end to a short-term contract would not create major financial obstacles. Instead, it could provide stability for the position while giving the Patriots an experienced blocker capable of fitting seamlessly into the offensive system. There is also something valuable that cannot always be measured with statistics. Familiarity with the organization, understanding of expectations, and experience within the New England environment can significantly reduce the adjustment period for a veteran player returning to the franchise. That kind of continuity becomes even more valuable during a shortened offseason before training camp opens. For Patriots fans, the possibility of seeing a familiar face return while helping solve an immediate roster need creates an intriguing storyline. The front office now has a decision to make, balancing roster construction with experience and scheme fit as preparations continue for the upcoming season. If bringing back Pharaoh Brown truly represents the most practical solution to replace the blocking role left vacant by Julian Hill, could this reunion end up becoming one of the smartest under-the-radar moves the Patriots make before training camp officially begins, or do you believe the team should pursue another option instead? While the discussion surrounding the tight end position continues to generate attention, another storyline inside the Patriots organization is quietly becoming one of the biggest topics to watch before training camp officially opens. The focus now shifts to rookie Gabe Ikard, who remains the only player from the Patriots draft class who has yet to finalize his contract, creating questions that many fans have been asking throughout the offseason. At first glance, some supporters may assume this is a routine negotiation that happens every year, but according to the information available, this situation is somewhat different. Every other rookie has already completed the signing process, leaving Gabe Icard as the lone exception. Naturally, that has sparked curiosity about what exactly is delaying the agreement. The explanation appears to center around medical considerations rather than football ability. Reports indicate that the Patriots could be seeking a level of financial protection within the contract because of the medical procedure Icard underwent. From the team's perspective, that approach is understandable when investing in a young player whose health is still being evaluated. At the same time, it is equally understandable why the player's representatives may prefer a contract without those protections attached. Because of those differing interests, both sides may simply be waiting until his recovery progresses further before finalizing the agreement. Instead of rushing into a deal, patience could ultimately benefit everyone involved. That perspective also suggests there is no indication of conflict between the organization and the rookie himself. Another important update comes from reports indicating that the Patriots are not frustrated with Gabe Icard despite the delay. The organization may be mildly annoyed that the process remains unresolved, but there is no indication that the team is upset with the player personally. In fact, if New England was already aware of his medical situation before selecting him, then much of what is happening now should not come as a surprise. That creates an interesting perspective on the entire situation. If the Patriots knew he would likely miss portions of the offseason while recovering, then this timeline may have always been part of the long-term plan. Rather than becoming concerned, the coaching staff could simply be waiting for him to regain full health before integrating him into football activities. Perhaps the most intriguing development is what fans have been able to see from Gabe Icard himself. Workout videos and training clips have surfaced showing him moving well, cutting with confidence, and appearing physically comfortable despite the procedure that delayed his offseason participation. Based on those videos, he certainly does not look like someone dealing with significant physical limitations. That naturally raises even more questions among the fan base. If he appears healthy while training independently, why has the contract still not been completed? Is it simply a matter of legal language and financial details, or is there another layer to the negotiations that remains behind closed doors? Until an agreement is officially announced, speculation will undoubtedly continue. Even if everything is resolved tomorrow, there is still one reality that cannot be ignored. Every day away from organized team activities represents valuable development time that cannot be recovered. While his teammates have been learning the playbook, working with coaches, and building chemistry through OTAs and minicamp practices, Gabe Icard has been forced to watch much of that process from the outside. For any rookie, especially one expected to contribute in the future, those lost repetitions matter. The transition from college football to the NFL is challenging enough without missing valuable practice opportunities. That means he could arrive at training camp needing to catch up while the rest of the roster already has a head start within the system. Still, there is plenty of optimism surrounding his long-term outlook. The excitement that followed his selection in the draft has not disappeared, and many continue to believe he possesses the talent to become an impact player once he officially joins the team. The biggest priority now is simply getting the contract finalized and allowing him to focus entirely on football. With training camp approaching and the calendar continuing to move forward, the pressure naturally increases for both sides to reach an agreement. Every Patriots fan wants to see this situation resolved before camp opens so that one of the team's promising young players can finally begin preparing alongside his teammates instead of watching from a distance. There is also a broader message hidden behind both of these developing stories. The Patriots are clearly entering a new phase where roster construction is being built around depth, versatility, and competition rather than relying solely on star power. Every position matters, and every roster decision made before training camp could have a significant impact once the regular season begins. The possible return of Pharaoh Brown would not necessarily dominate headlines across the NFL, but those are often the kinds of moves that pay dividends over a long season. Championship caliber teams are built with players who understand their roles and execute them consistently, and Brown's reputation as a physical blocker fits that description perfectly. If the Patriots decide to bring him back, they would be adding a veteran who already understands the demands of playing in New England and could immediately help stabilize the tight end room following Julian Hill's injury. Instead of asking younger players to take on responsibilities they may not yet be ready for, the coaching staff would have an experienced option capable of stepping into a specialized role from day one. At the same time, the organization continues to balance the future with the present. Gabe Icard represents part of that long-term vision, and while the contract situation has delayed his official arrival, there is still plenty of time for him to become part of the team's plans if an agreement is reached before training camp. The biggest challenge for any rookie is proving that he can adjust quickly to the speed and complexity of the NFL. Missing off-season practices certainly creates obstacles, but it does not eliminate the opportunity to make an impact. Much will depend on how quickly he can absorb the playbook, build chemistry with his teammates, and demonstrate that he belongs on the field once camp begins. For now, both situations remain unresolved, but they share one important characteristic. Neither appears to be driven by panic inside the Patriots organization. The coaching staff seems aware of its needs at tight end, and the front office appears willing to be patient while working through Gabe Eichert's contract details. That measured approach suggests confidence in the overall direction of the roster rather than urgency to make impulsive decisions. As training camp draws closer, these developments will become increasingly important. Whether it is adding a veteran blocker to strengthen the offense or finally getting a promising rookie under contract, every move contributes to shaping the roster that will take the field when the season begins. The next few weeks could answer several important questions. Will the Patriots choose familiarity and experience by bringing Pharaoh Brown back? Will Gabe Eichert officially sign and join his teammates in time for camp? And could these seemingly quiet offseason stories end up playing a much larger role than anyone expects once meaningful football returns? One thing that becomes increasingly clear as these developments unfold is that the Patriots are approaching this offseason with a very specific philosophy. Every roster spot must have a purpose, and every player who earns a place on the team must be capable of contributing in a defined role. That mindset explains why replacing Julian Hill is not simply about finding another tight end, but about finding someone who can replicate the physical responsibilities that made him valuable to the offense. Pharaoh Brown checks many of those boxes. His experience, size, and willingness to embrace blocking assignments make him a practical option rather than a flashy one. Sometimes the most important additions are not the players who produce the biggest statistics, but the veterans who allow everyone else around them to perform at a higher level. A strong blocker can create running lanes, provide extra protection for the quarterback, and give offensive coordinators greater flexibility when designing game plans. That possibility becomes even more attractive when considering that Brown already knows what it means to play in New England. The adjustment period would likely be shorter than it would be for another veteran joining the team for the first time.